Welcome to our session, everyone. We're diving into how recent U.S. tariffs are shaking up Singapore's property market. The U.S., on April 9th, 2025, introduced a 10% blanket tariff on imports from countries that hadn't retaliated, Singapore included, and set a 90-day pause on any further tariff hikes until July 8th, 2025. This has got global trade trembling a bit.
Right, and don't forget, the World Trade Organization just slashed its global growth forecast from 3% to 0.2%. That's massive, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a pretty stark change. With the US and China on this tariff tug-of-war, global trade could take a severe hit, potentially even flirting with a recession. For Singapore, which is super trade-reliant, manufacturing, electronics, finance, all could feel the pressure.
And looking at Singapore specifically, I've seen figures suggesting that about 8.3% of its nominal GDP is tied to US demand, compared to only 2.4% for Indonesia. That's a huge swing.
Exactly. So much so that Singapore's Ministry of Trade and Industry actually downgraded its GDP forecast from 1 to 3% to 0.2% for this year. But here's the kicker. Despite the slowdown, Singapore holds robust fundamentals: political stability, strong governance, low unemployment. That creates, a solid base for long-term growth in property demand.
Right. Now, speaking of property, with the US Fed facing this tariff-induced dilemma, if inflation turns out to be a one-off shock, they might go for rate cuts. The market is even betting on 3 25 basis point cuts by year-end. That could drop Singapore's SORA to below 2.2% and make mortgages cheaper.
Yeah, it's like, picture it as a switch being flipped. Lower lending rates can definitely boost property market demand, assuming people feel secure with their jobs.
Yep, got it. And what about the Monetary Authority of Singapore? Their approach of managing the exchange rate instead of directly setting rates is fascinating, isn't it?
For sure. MAS recently eased its policy stance because of the cooling inflation and tariff uncertainties. Some expect MAS to further flatten the SGD's appreciation path, maybe targeting 0% appreciation at their next meeting. But, and here's a thought, if the US hikes its rates, MAS might have to keep a stronger SGD to combat imported inflation, which could, hurt export competitiveness.
True indeed. That's a nuanced angle. On another note, what about construction costs? Without tariffs on construction materials, could we see a dip there?
It's like maybe, if China finds less demand from the US, they might channel more steel and cement into Singapore. That could potentially lower costs, but the impact might be minimal since land prices are the big chunk of property costs.
So even amid these shocks, historical trends suggest that the property market in Singapore rebounded after challenging times like the COVID-19 downturn, right?
Absolutely, and with fewer new property launches and a shrinking pool of unsold units, savvy buyers might actually find some prime opportunities, buying into profit before the market fully recovers.
Yeah, totally. All in all, while these tariffs stir up short-term anxieties, a long-term view and informed strategy could uncover real investment opportunities in Singapore's property market.
Exactly. It's all about staying updated, taking measured risks, and not letting immediate headlines cloud judgment. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.